Hi everyone, I'm Hannah. Welcome to my channel. This is my second vlog, and actually the first one got quite a good response, so that's why I decided to hop back on here and do a lot of chit chat rather than my usual guiding you through your yoga practice. So today we're going to be talking about, or I'm going to be talking about, how I got into yoga, how I then eventually moved on to being a yoga teacher. It took a really long time, let's just say that. So if you're somebody that's thinking about moving into doing their yoga teacher training, or you want to take your yoga practice further, do not rush it. That would be my big tip to you right at the start. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. So if you have visited my website, you would have seen this story I put in the about section. My first memory of yoga is with a group of my friends. I think we were about 16. It was in a church hall. I can just remember feeling cold the whole time. And one of my friends, who I will not name, she does have a child now. One of my friends, we were in downward dog. All of a sudden she farted. We were all mortified. I don't know if she was more mortified than us, but it was just the most embarrassing situation. We already felt embarrassed, as you can imagine, 16-year-olds doing something that's not just like hanging out at the cinema or outside Tesco's. So yeah, I can't think or remember that I actually went and did any yoga after that. But I was a dancer, so I did a lot of dancing when I was younger. I did like the classic, did some ballet when I was like super young, and then moved into doing dancing because I wanted to. When I was about 14, I think I got back into dancing. So I did everything like jazz, tap, modern, ballet, and I absolutely loved it. I loved the choreography. I loved the fact that you can bring out your personality. The different things you can make your body do really made me feel so powerful and motivated me so much. Like just things like, oh my god, I can kick my leg up here, I can get to the end of a dance routine without stopping, without like huffing and puffing, and killing absolutely every single move. So I think that's kind of where the physical aspect of yoga kind of merges, and coordination and flexibility, which everybody always thinks is a huge thing in your physical yoga practice, which I try to tell my students all the time. It is not. Yoga is just breathing. But I do think that those aspects of how I grew up and my experiences definitely helped me find the physical aspect of yoga a lot easier than some other people. And then when I was a bit older, when I started to go to the gym, when I started to kind of look back, when I started to look after myself a lot more, so yeah, gym, in between working, that kind of like work, eat, gym, repeat life. I then started to do yoga alongside my gym classes, so kind of found a love for stretching again, I suppose, because it wasn't really anything, there was no spirituality, I didn't care about the philosophy, anything like that. It was just, hey, this makes me feel great, this makes my muscles and my body feel great after a HIIT class or a weights or something like that. So that's the next chapter. So I was probably mid-20s when I started to get interested in yoga again, but it was still very much a class here, a class there, didn't really have any understanding about it, was interested because I found it easy, I suppose, which a lot of people, when they find things hard, it's very easy to just kind of move on and just be like, hey, do you know what, I don't enjoy that. So for me, it was very natural. Then I moved to Australia, which I haven't talked about enough. In Australia, as you can imagine, everybody is doing yoga, everybody's eating smoothie bowls, really looking after themselves. The surf yoga culture is big because a lot of the guys that surf, and obviously the girls, but I think guys don't necessarily think about kind of the afters. So a lot of the guys do yoga to help maintain and help improve their surfing, and then their flexibility, mobility, everything like that. There's a lot more of a connection, I suppose, with your mind, body and soul that I found in Australia. I was living in Bondi, and Bondi, if you don't know it, is very much the quintessential Australian lifestyle, I suppose. Beach, surf, yeah, everybody looks amazing. So I started to get back into it in a really big way when I was living in Australia. I would go every morning, still very much focusing on the physical aspect, but I definitely started to understand that the physical side had a really great impact on my mental health as well, which at this point, spoiler alert, I didn't realize that I had any issues with my mental health. I kind of just thought that sometimes I was just having a down day and I just needed to smile and be positive, which an ex-boyfriend at the time used to tell me as well, which no fault of his own because I couldn't communicate how I was feeling, but yoga definitely helped me kind of in the moment feel better. And then during my time in Australia, I went traveling with that partner that I was just talking about, and we were traveling India, Sri Lanka, all of these places that have yoga completely attached to their everyday lives, but more the spiritual aspect, the philosophy of yoga. So that is where I started to understand a little bit more and appreciate a lot more how my physical aspect, the asana practice, and the philosophy, the other 8 limbs of yoga, really merged into one another. And for me, I felt like that I couldn't really practice one without the other anymore. And then when my ex-partner and I were in Sri Lanka, we were having ginormous fights. Like, we were 3 months in, I think, to traveling, and we were just not connecting. There was just, every single day there was something, and it was just hideous, absolutely hideous. So we'd kind of got to the point, or both of us separately had got to the point where we knew we needed to kind of part ways for a bit because we'd just been with each other 24/7. And I was just like, okay, well, what can I do? I kind of want to do something that is beneficial, is useful, that I can use later on. We had just left India to go to Sri Lanka. This is where all these problems were happening. And I just thought, well, why don't I just go back to India right now and do my teacher training? So I think literally like 2 weeks before I was leaving Sri Lanka, I booked this. He'd booked to go somewhere else. And yeah, the only thing that I kind of booked it for was exploring my personal practice more. It wasn't ever with the desire to teach. And it was, I suppose it was more like this could be the thing that saves me. Because I was feeling really, really low at that point. So yeah, I was reaching out almost for like a life jacket. And actually, funny story, in the airport in Sri Lanka, in front of me was this girl. She was obviously traveling as well. She was getting onto my same flight. We hadn't spoken. And then the assistant at the check-in desk said to me, oh, if you see that girl again, can you just tell her this additional bit of information? So the airport was small. I managed to find her and I told her whatever. And I was like, hey, like, what are you doing in India? Where are you going? And she's like, oh, I'm doing a yoga teacher training. And I was like, so am I. Where is your yoga teacher training? Tapas yoga in Goa. And I was like, no way, that is insane. We're both going to the same place. So beautiful, such a, like, the most amazing meet of my life. She is the most incredible person, just somebody, you know, like you just connect with. So we were then got to the immigration, went through immigration in India, got the car together to Goa, just chat the whole time. Oh, and in India, I'll just add this insert in. I went through immigration, chat with the immigration officer, because I always get so nervous at immigration, so I usually like overcompensate by being super friendly and telling them far too much information. And then the day after, when I was in India, I was at the retreat, sitting with the other people doing the teacher training. I get a text. Who is it? It is the immigration officer being like, hey Hannah, I got your number. just wanted to find out more about your yoga teacher training, blah, 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 blah. I was like, what the hell? You've taken my mobile number from my immigration form and then decided to message me. How inappropriate is that? So yeah, that was mad. But anyway, so let's discuss my teacher training. So like I said, I did my teacher training at Tapas Yoga in Goa, in the middle of the jungle in Goa. So you would wake up, there'd be monkeys around you, snakes, and just a serene, peaceful surrounding. Yeah, it was just perfect for a teacher training. So if you are thinking about it, I couldn't recommend them more. Every day you do morning practice, then you have the most delicious Ayurvedic breakfast. Come into, what else did we do? So we did a lot of like alignment, how would you adjust students, the philosophy around the actual pathway of yoga, meditation, and anatomy as well. So we did those things every single day. For a whole month we were there. I didn't really have much free time. When we did, I think we just slept. And it was just incredible. Really, really incredible. However, at the beginning and at the end of the teacher training, we all got asked, like, okay, what do you want to do with this training? And all I said was, I don't think I'm ever going to teach, but my goal, if you don't already know, my goal at some point is to have my own guest house, my own retreat space, somewhere that I can just drink coconuts every day on the beach, looking to the sea, and to be able to bring yoga as kind of the main thing of my guest house. So that's all it was. I was just like, well, I want to get my teacher training so that I can offer yoga to my guests. That was it. And still at the end, I just thought, oh my God, I do not know enough. I'm never going to know enough to be able to teach anyone. But I wasn't super concerned. So like even in the exams, at the end, some of the other girls were super stressed. They were revising all the time. And I was just like, do you know what? I'm going to allow this to come to me when it's in the time frame it's going to come to me. I'm not going to cram it, because for me, this is a lifestyle. It's not just I'm going to get the knowledge to pass the exam. And it's not a passing exam. It's just, have you learned anything really? So yeah, I wasn't too worried, but I still knew that I just didn't know that much. So still at the end, I was just like, yeah, great, but I'm still never going to teach. But it was an incredible experience. So if you need any guidance, what teacher training to pick, whether you are unsure whether a teacher training is for you, feel free to drop me a message, drop a comment below, and I'm more than happy to help you. So after the teacher training, I carried on traveling. Still didn't really have any kind of visions of teaching. Went back to Australia, really kind of ramped up my meditation, my yoga practice, delving a lot more into the philosophy, because like I said, that was an area that I hadn't really connected with before. But now I had these references, I had these sources to be able to go and explore further. So that is what I did. I think it was a year. So I was there like a year after my teacher training, maybe a year, a bit more than a year in Australia, just really kind of focusing on me, my practice. COVID happened. And then back in the UK, I started teaching, and then just had this idea that I did want to teach, and I did have these kind of capabilities and this knowledge, because even if you don't think you've got a humongous wealth of knowledge, you still know more than somebody that has never practiced before. You can still bring them valuable information. And it's just more that I'm a guide and I'm a facilitator. Like I'm just Google, really. If somebody wants to ask something, if somebody doesn't know something, rather than having to go to a source on the internet, this is where yoga teachers can come into their own, because we've got experience to go off. We can personalize the information. So that is what is just incredible. So yeah, so then I started my business, moved everything online. And I now have such confidence in what I'm teaching and what I'm providing everyone, because I absolutely love what I do, and I have such a passion for yoga as a whole, and how it can just make you such a more rounded person. If you're missing anything, or you just feel like you're striving for something else, you just need to take a step back, and that's what yoga helps you do. It helps you to just be in the present. So yeah, that's my journey to being a yoga teacher. And I think, to be honest, it's probably best that I never thought that I was actually going to teach, because it allowed me to just kind of go with the flow, no pressure, just do it. And it really helped me as well understand that I did need to address my mental health, because I could stop and reflect, just not keep moving, not keep ignoring. So maybe not everyone will find out that through their yoga practice, but it definitely helped me. So if you are thinking about doing it, I couldn't recommend it more. Drop me a message, drop me a comment. And if anybody is looking to set up their own business, again, I'm more than happy to help you, thinking about probably more so yoga than, I don't know, like a tech startup. But I'm more than happy to help. And if I've inspired you in any little way, that will mean the absolute world to me. So subscribe to my channel. There's a 7-day free trial as well on my website for my membership, so you get unlimited access to all of the videos. There's over 150 videos, maybe even closer to 200 at the moment, and they're growing because every week you get new classes. Suitable for everyone, different lengths of time. So that is it. Thank you, and thank you for listening to my second vlog. I always put in my Instagram as well. I vote for what my next one will be, so stay tuned and follow me on Instagram. Thank you so much. Bye.